Today, let's quickly go through one post that I saw recently about someone who thinks he's failing as a Scrum Master. So is he failing? Is he not failing? Let's find out together. I've been a Scrum Master for 14 months, but I've worked in IT for 8 years as a developer. Currently, I'm tasked with 8 dedicated teams and 2 fluid teams. 10 teams. You're currently supporting 10 teams. That's a lot of teams. I hope that these teams are self-managed and quite mature in terms of agility, because that's a lot of teams. I'm assuming here that the dedicated teams are Scrum teams, and by fluid teams, you simply mean teams where people move in and out throughout the team's lifetime. The company I work for is obsessed with getting things in production as fast as possible. That's quite common, especially with big companies that think that Agile is all about faster and cheaper delivery. So after 6 months of explaining why these 8 teams weren't working well, mostly because they're all completely siloed, every team is divided into individual contributors and they have their own product owners. The managers of these teams tell me almost nothing about them. I have to dig for impediments, and most of the members complain to me that their managers are all micromanaging them constantly and aren't reporting the problems accurately. So quite a few issues here, quite a few impediments to talk about. Let's start with the managers. What's the role of a manager in the team? Does the manager have an authority on the team? Why do you even need a manager? I'm guessing here that you're using Scrum because you are a Scrum Master as per the Scrum Guide 2020. There's no manager role in the Scrum Guide. And to make matters worse, it seems that the teams are not self-managed. Agile, Scrum don't work if the teams are not self-managed. We need people to think, to have decision-making power, to decide what to build, how to build it, who builds it, and by when to build it. It seems that the managers are telling people what to do. And this doesn't work. The best person to do the job is actually the person doing the job, not a manager somewhere telling the person what to do. The company wanted to put together fluid teams that would operate for a specific task and then disband after completion, except the teams aren't project-based, they are MVP-based. So one single deployment and the team is disbanded. Why fluid teams? What are you doing with these fluid teams? Are you serving these teams? You are a Scrum Master. From my understanding, you are a Scrum Master. Fluid teams are not Scrum teams. No, far from that. What are you doing with these teams? The role of a Scrum Master is to promote Scrum with a Scrum team. And it's clearly something that you're not currently doing with these fluid teams simply because they are not Scrum teams. I have nothing against fluid teams, like having a product to build, taking people, qualified people throughout the organization, quickly creating a team so that they can work on this product. This concept works, and it works very well. The problem here is the MVP, the minimum viable product, which is basically the minimum number of features that we can put to market to get feedback from customers so that we don't build a huge application, assuming that they will like it, and then releasing it, and then they don't like it. We want to put something quickly to the market as early as possible to get feedback, and then develop something better later based on this feedback. But you're disbanding the team just after the MVP. So who is collecting feedback from customers? Who is actually creating the better product? It seems that your company thinks that the MVP is the final product. I am tasked with taking notes on these 2 teams' daily Scrum and then emailing that up to management. So I am the one that has to report if someone isn't on the call. And I'm not their manager, so half the time I am not told if they have a sick day or anything like that. So I'm frequently trying to track team members down. Excuse me, what? Really? You are tracking attendance in the daily Scrum? You are reporting to management what people do in the daily Scrum? Am I missing something here? Are we dealing with kids? The role of a daily Scrum, the goal of a daily Scrum is for the developers to craft a plan for the day, how they will collaborate in the day, during the day, to get closer to the sprint goal. That's the goal of a daily Scrum. The product owner, the Scrum Master, they don't even have to attend this meeting, this session, this event. Most of the teams have zero morale right now and think Scrum is a waste of time and doesn't fit their work style. Most of the teams hate Jira and don't document anything. I'm really surprised that you still have teams, like people working for the company. I would have thought that people would have left by now. And you are not a Scrum Master. Definitely not a Scrum Master because you're not using Scrum. I don't know what you're using, but you're not using Scrum. Scrum is immutable. It cannot be changed. You have to use it as per the book, and you're not using it as per the book. So you're not using Scrum, and you are not a Scrum Master. You seem to me like a team leader or more of a project manager. Management has made it very clear to me several times that they are not interested in following the Scrum Bible. Agile is a mindset, not a set of rules we have to follow. When I'm expected to just make whatever we have work, I think they want the benefits of Scrum without the sacrifice it'll take to get there. You are right. We just talked about that. Scrum is immutable. You need to use as per the book to get the benefits of Scrum. If you don't use it, if you just cherry pick things that you like and ignore the rest, you are not using Scrum and you won't get the benefits. Agile is also the same way. There's tons of frameworks to choose from. Not only Scrum, you can choose Lean, Kanban, which have their practices, their principles, their values. You can't just cherry pick things from Kanban, from Lean, from Scrum, and put everything together that you like and believe that you are going to get the benefits. No, it doesn't work like that. You are not even following the basic values and principles of Agile. We have over 800 stories sitting on backlog that just keep piling up, and I had to really work to get them to realize we can't just say yes to everything, and we have to start prioritizing work and determine what's actually important and then focus on that. But it seems to be that they are still just trying to ram things down the pipe as fast as possible. That's very common, especially with big companies that want to focus on faster and cheaper delivery. That's their only priority. So they just work on hundreds of projects at the same time. And guess what? Everything is delayed. There's no priority. Everyone is working on multiple things at the same time. Everything is getting delayed, and no one cares about the actual value, which Agile is all about delivering value, something that the customer wants. No one cares about that. People care about fast delivery, cheaper delivery. That's their priority. I've been asked why the new teams aren't bringing the faster delivery, even though I've been reporting all these anti-patterns to management for months. Am I just a bad Scrum Master? I feel like I'm being asked to do things that are not my role, and I'm being held accountable for people basically not wanting to do their job. I really can't answer this question for you because I believe that you are not a Scrum Master. You're not using Scrum. I don't know what you're using, but you're 100% not using Scrum in your company, or at least with these teams. But I got to say, you're doing a really good job identifying all these risks, all these issues, all these impediments. Your problem here is the convincing part. You're not able to convince management that all these things are real. I would go back to the basics. Agile and Scrum. Your company isn't using both. No, they're not using that. So gather data, metrics, anything you can think of to show the company clearly that we are not using Agile, but we are not using Scrum. Once the company agrees that there's an issue, we are not currently using Agile or Scrum correctly, there's two options from here. First, the company decides that Agile and Scrum, not for them. Let's use other project management methods. That's fine. Second option, we decide that Agile and Scrum for them. We need their full support from now on. We need to use it correctly. You can start using it correctly, promoting it correctly with the teams you support, but you need their full support, and we need to understand that Agile, Scrum, not about faster or cheaper delivery. No, it's about early delivery, frequent delivery, focusing on value, focusing actually on specific priority products, more visibility, more transparency, more predictability. But all these things might slow down delivery, or at least in the short term, and we need to be fine with that. If we are not fine with that, forget about Agile, forget about Scrum, do something else, focus on delivery, forget about the customer. But don't say that you're using Agile, you're using Scrum when you clearly not believe that all these things are important for you and the only thing important is faster delivery or cheaper delivery. Which brings me to my next point. If you want more tips, insights on Agile, Scrum, personal growth, click on the video that stands out the most on the screen right now, and I'll see you in a few seconds.